Welcome back. It is just so easy. Simply swipe your credit card and enjoy the purchase. And after that, swipe it again and again and again. There is no need to worry about the costs now. There is always later. And that is when it hits people. They have spent more money than they should, very much to the pleasure of the credit card company and the bank which issued the card. Because that's when both make the most. And not only when card users overdraw their limit, also with annual fees, etc. Forbes Middle East recently revealed its ranking list of credit cards in the region, and so to discuss the findings, as well as what banks and credit card companies charge their card users and what the true costs are, we're now joined by Mary Badi, senior researcher from Forbes Middle East. Hi Mary, good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
What are the true costs if I use a credit card? It's so complex, there's so many costs. How can you keep an overview?
Well, when looking at credit cards, really a cardholder has to be very careful on what kind of card he's choosing. And things that a cardholder has to look at in the beginning is the interest rates and the different fees that come along with the card. You're borrowing money for a certain amount of time, but you need to pay that money back, and it has a lot to do with when you pay it back and how much of it you pay it back as well. The cost of borrowing money increases every time you take your time more to pay back. You have, usually with most banks, it's a month. You need to pay back your full amount in order to not be charged interest. Otherwise, a lot of people fall into the trap of paying the minimum amount that the bank gives you.
And then the debt adds up and adds up.
That's exactly the trap that they fall into, because when you're paying the minimum amount, that means that the interest is going to pile up on you, and you're going to definitely lose track of the debt, of the interest that comes along with the amounts you borrowed. In a lot of cases, what our ranking shows is that what happens at some cases is that you're paying more than the amount you borrowed. Which is exactly...
That's weird.
This is what happens when you don't really choose your card wisely. At the same time, you're not keeping track of your expenses. You're not keeping track of paying your bills on time.
Now, there are many different credit cards. In your survey, which ranked highest, which lowest, and why?
Well, we had three types of rankings. We had the classic, the gold, and the platinum ranking.
Let's talk about classic first. Which one's best?
For the classic, the best one was the National Bank of Kuwait.
Oh.
That was the number one. And if we are to look at the Emirates in specific, the first one was Dubai Islamic Bank. And that sort of makes sense because when it comes to Islamic cards, they don't charge interest. And you just end up paying higher annual fees, but it is still better than paying interest.
Which one was worst?
The worst one was the Ras Al Khaimah Bank. And again, if you look at the minimum amount that Ras Al Khaimah gives to its customers, it's 3%, which is a very low amount. And when cardholders stick to that percentage and only pay the minimum amount, they could end up for the next 9 years paying back just that one-time purchase that they borrowed.
Using credit cards here in the MENA region is often much more expensive than, let's say, in the USA, where the penetration of credit cards is much higher. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Banks tend to charge a lot more interest here than in the US. They make a lot more money out of per card. In the US, usually, they don't have that many. I mean, a lot of people use cards, but in the GCC countries, in the Middle East, credit card penetration isn't that high here. It's growing. That's what credit card operators are expecting. Visa, MasterCard, they expect it to grow, and that is why they have invested a lot in the Middle East.
Many people have several credit cards. How can you keep track of the amounts you spend?
Well, here's the thing. The more credit cards you have, the more careful you need to be, and the more cautious you have to be of choosing the card. And once you choose the card, you need to really look at the terms and conditions. There are a lot of things in fine print that we tend to ignore that let us fall into debt. So cardholders really need to consider that, and they should keep track of their bills each and every month.
What is the most important thing to consider as a credit card user when choosing a card?
I would say the interest rates.
How high can they get?
The interest rates can go up to, well, per year we're looking at 30 to 35%.
Quite a number.
Which is a very big number. So it's a lot higher in the US as well. So they need to consider that, and with Islamic cards, they need to look at the annual fees as well.
How high can they get?
Annual fees can probably go up to $150 to $200.
A year, though?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your insights,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Wonderful. Well, that's it from the business desk. You can contact us at news@city7tv.com. Up next, Laura Buckwell is back with the news.